Hey everybody, this is Ken Jobst with a closer look at Pastor's midweek message this week entitled Closing the Stress Gap. It's from a new series that Pastor has put together entitled How to Keep On Keeping On. Now the scripture that we're using for this particular message comes from Exodus chapter 18, verses 13 through 20. And the general context is this: that Moses is leading 603,000 men plus women and children, so probably like 3 million people out of slavery in Egypt into the wilderness, and he's got so much to do, right? His father-in-law, Jethro, gives him some hints on how to manage all of the responsibilities that he's trying to juggle. Now, as it turns out, we can reasonably assume that Moses had some stress in his life. And I want to give you this definition of stress from Pastor's lesson. He defines stress as the gap between the demands placed on you and the strength you have to meet those demands. That's stress. So it's the gap between the demands that are placed on you and the strength that you have to meet those demands. Well, in our lives, how do we close the stress gap? Well, there are 3 steps. And the first step to closing the stress gap is to realize and recognize our limitations. Everybody only has 24 hours in the day. We have limited time and energy and effort to be able to put into some things. Clint Eastwood said, man's got to know his limitations, right? So let's recognize our limitations. And then the second step is to share the load. And watch, seriously. Nobody is successful alone. Everybody relies on somebody, or more appropriately, everybody relies on a whole bunch of somebodies to do what they need to do. Now, that leads us to the action that we need to take if we're going to allow people into our lives to share our load. That means to delegate the things that we have to do. Delegate them. And we want to be discerning in our delegation, right? We want to be sure that we delegate things to people that have the right heart. They have a servant heart. They have a good attitude. It's good to delegate to people who have the potential for growth and that they've got resiliency and follow through. We can delegate things to people who exhibit integrity and who understand the big picture of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We delegate to the disciplined. And we delegate to the humble. And by that I mean those who are not so consumed with taking the credit for everything that's going to get in the way of getting the job done. And we delegate to the loyal. So with those characteristics, we're able to recognize our limitations, we're able to find people to share the load, and then the third step is to be a wise steward of all of that newly found, freed up time. I mean, what's the point of delegating responsibilities if we're all just going to go put our feet up and watch Netflix? No, we need to be good stewards of the freed up time. So that's closing the stress gap. Recognize our limitations, share the load, and then be a good steward of the time that has been freed up. With a closer look, this is Ken Jobst. Stay strong. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.